Pentagon slams MeidasTouch. Reporting on USS Lincoln sailors suffering. Pentagon slams MeidasTouch. Reporting on USS Lincoln sailors suffering. But the sailors are the ones who spoke first. Before any camera, before any headline, they were texting home in the dark, telling their mothers and their wives what nobody in Washington wanted the country to hear. Let's go back to November, San Diego. More than 5,000 sailors and Marines walking up that gangway, saying goodbye to their families, thinking they'd be home by May. That's the deal they signed up for, that's the promise. But May came and went, and the ship stayed out. June came and went, and the ship stayed out. Now it's August, 260 days at sea. More than 200 days without a single port call. And the mission just kept getting longer, while the supplies kept getting shorter. No milk for 3 months, sailors wrote that down themselves in their own words and messages to the people who love them. Nothing fresh coming in, because it takes too long for supplies to reach a ship that's been pushed further and further from home. Rotten meat on the trays, mold where it shouldn't be, plumbing that doesn't work right, showers that don't run right, and thousands of young Americans trying to hold it together through all of it. Cause that's the job, that's the uniform, that's the sacrifice nobody back home ever really sees. Then on August 3rd, a sailor went overboard, recovered safely. Thank God, but it happened. And it happened during a deployment where families were already begging somebody, anybody, in the chain of command to just listen. Senator Blumenthal sent a letter asking about the water, the plumbing, the mental health, the mail that never arrives. The safety on the deck, that's not MeidasTouch talking. That's a United States Senator putting it in writing. So when Aaron Partners and the MeidasTouch network took those stories and put them on the biggest platform they had, and it landed on top of Drudge, and Military Times and Stars and Stripes started digging too, you'd think the response would be answers. Instead came the statement. SENTCOM said the reporting was false. Said re-enlistment on the Abraham Lincoln is at 84.4%, among the highest of any carrier in the fleet. Said no service members have died. Said the sailor who went overboard was recovered quickly and safely. All of that may be true, and it should be said plainly, because the truth matters on both sides of this story. But here's the storyline that doesn't add up. If everything is fine, why did a senator have to send a letter demanding basic answers about food, water, and mental health? If everything is fine, why did families in San Diego have to sit down with Navy leadership just to talk about suicide risk on that very ship? If everything is fine, why do the sailors' own text messages in their own handwriting say the Navy does not care? The mission always comes first. Pentagon slams MeidasTouch, reporting on USS Lincoln sailors suffering. But Pete Hegseth calling it fake news doesn't erase a text message a mother received from her own son. It doesn't erase 200 days without a port call. It doesn't erase 3 months without milk. Senator Kelly of Arizona, a veteran himself, said it straight. Stop the back and forth and fix the problem. That's not politics, that's a promise this country owes the people. Let's talk about the timeline, because timelines don't lie the way arguments do. This deployment was supposed to end in May, it didn't. It got extended once, then extended again, as the mission around Iran kept shifting under their feet. Nobody aboard that carrier voted on that extension. Nobody back home got asked either. A wife finds out her husband isn't coming home in May, then finds out again he isn't coming home in June. And by August she's forwarding his text messages to a United States Senator, because she doesn't know where else to turn. That's not a talking point. That's a family trying to be heard by a system that's supposed to already be listening. And that's the real story underneath the headline. Not Democrat versus Republican, not MeidasTouch versus SENTCOM. It's a family in San Diego sitting across a table from Navy leadership, asking hard questions about suicide, risk on a ship their son or daughter can't leave. It's a senator from Arizona, a combat veteran himself, standing up and saying stop arguing about who's lying and start fixing what's broken. It's Senator Blumenthal in Connecticut, putting his questions on paper because the Navy hadn't answered them out loud. That's the actual history being made here, written in letters and text messages in a meeting room with worried parents, long before it ever became a headline on Drudge. Pentagon slams MeidasTouch, reporting on USS Lincoln sailors suffering. But somewhere in between the official statement and the sailor's own words, there's a truth that doesn't need either side to win the argument. The Navy can be right that no one died. The Navy can be right about the re-enlistment numbers, and the sailors can still be right that the milk didn't come for 3 months. Both things can be true at the same time, and pretending otherwise is what turns a fixable problem into a fight nobody wins. This is a story about distance, 260 days of it. A carrier strike group so far from home that even the mail can't reliably find its way there. Care packages lost somewhere between a mother's hands and her son's bump. Distance between what was promised and what was delivered. Distance between the numbers on the press release and the numbers a family is living through in real time. And distance between a Pentagon podium and a berthing compartment where a 19-year-old is riding home in the middle of the night because it's the only place left to say it out loud. So let the record show it plainly, without shouting, without picking a side. The hate sailors serve, families waited, questions were asked, and the country is still owed real answers, not a headline war. That's the story, that's the history, that's what happened. And it's still happening right now, out on that water.